Welcome back to BookView. I'm Dennis Campbell. Now, our guest is the author of Hitchhiking with Larry David, Paul Samuel Dolman. His journey across the island of Martha's Vineyard became an interesting, life-changing adventure. Now, before the break, you were talking, Paul, about drinks with David McCullough and that whole experience.
Yes, dropping a few names I was.
Yes, you were.
Let me drop some more names. Name dropping.
Why don't we finish that story? You've now been invited back to the home for the weekend to come up because he's taken the only copy of the manuscript that you have.
Yes, give David, no, that's my, I don't even, so he takes that, and then I'm saying, well, shouldn't I call first? No, just come and knock. No, I really want to call it, you know. So I go, and I do go up there, and I'm like, and the front door's like the screen's there, and I knock, and I'm thinking, all right, I haven't called, and now I'm just showing up around cocktail hour, and the voice was, yes, come in. But I thought, did he say come in? All right, I don't want to just walk in the house uncalled. Who is this guy? You know, but long story short, he come in, I go in. The wife had read it. She said, you got to read the book. David read it and said, wonderful, just very complimentary. And then he said, geez, what a great adventure. I wish I had picked you up hitchhiking. So I said, that's a great line. Can I use that on the next version of the book, Jack? And he said, oh, use whatever you want. And what a great guy. And that has started, it started a friendship where I went back several times. I played the piano. He loves to sing. And they're both equally wonderful partners. And he's been very supportive. And I got to spend time with him again this last summer. And you know, he's the benchmark because he's super successful and he is so humble. So there's no way, if my book sells as many as 50 Shades of Grey, and my sequel is 50 Shades of Larry, by the way, that just to piggyback on that phenomenon, you can't get too puffed up or egotistical. And do forgive me, dear audience, for dropping all these names.
Well, the name dropping is what is also part of the celebrity culture that we're in. But
people love the celebrity culture.
They do, they do. Now, Paul, at some point in time, you did decide to put this into a book. You said it came to you in a dream, and I was very lucky to get a signed copy of your first effort. And you know, this was a self-published venture where you printed several thousand copies on your own, and then headed back to Martha's Vineyard as well as to another artist enclave, your home in Nashville, as well as the West Coast, to sell them. Now, I want to talk about the two processes, the writing process and the selling process. How difficult was it for you to put this together as an actual book?
Well, the writing process was joyful, but it was primitive. And then I got very lucky that a very dear friend, I want to thank publicly, Peter Durgey, however you pronounce it, he chooses to pronounce it today. Peter Durgey moved in above me, synchronicity or fate. Dear friend, was going through a tough time, moved in upstairs, had an editing background. And he and I had this collaborative process after I wrote it, where he helped me turn it into what it was. He was brilliant that way. And I just started putting it out there to people, and because you don't know what you have when you're in that vacuum, you know, you're in the eye of the hurricane. I wasn't arrogant enough then, now I am. No, but back then I wasn't arrogant enough to think that it was any good, or you don't know. So I gave it to some people I knew would be honest, and the response was so overwhelmingly positive. I was encouraged, and then I actually had a little interest in terms of publishers publishing it, but they wanted to give me like next to nothing and they would own everything, which is the standard deal when a nobody like myself brings the creative gold out of the forest. And I had a background in the entertainment business. I'd been a piano player, songwriter, an entrepreneur. I had a small company in Nashville. And I thought, well, let's just see what I can do with this just in Martha's Vineyard. And you know how life is. It's funny. I was supposed to get 1,000 of them on July 4th weekend, which is the biggest weekend. And I thought, here we go. And, you know, everything takes longer. The cover comes out funky. So they don't show up until August. And I'm like, I'm going to have a lot of kindling for the fireplace come September. I had to beg a couple of bookstores and places to put them in, and they did on consignment, and they started flying off the shelf. For reasons, I don't know if it's the cover, the interest, the Martha's Vineyard, word of mouth. And we sold all of them. And that was amazing. So now I knew I had something, and I started getting incredible letters from readers sharing their beautiful stories, which was, wow, that was something else. And that might be another book, actually, Letters from the Road. And so then it started to find itself. I got notes from people in Australia, how they found it, England. And then the next summer, it sold a lot of copies. And I was in like 40 or 50 places. And I had a lot of fun with that. It was sort of the mom and pop thing. And I got a taste of what it's like to be famous and a little bit of a tiny minor celebrity just on Martha's Vineyard. But it was a very positive experience because people were coming out and saying, I loved your book, touched me here. And it felt like I made a minor contribution in a positive way. And people, anybody sent me a note that said, I want to have coffee. I just would love to have sign my book. I would always say yes, because everyone in life has been so generous to me. So I met some incredible people, had some great adventures, made some new friends, which was wonderful. And then, so it's going along quite wonderfully well, and it's supporting my nomadic, wandering gypsy lifestyle, where I had sold everything I owned a few years ago, and had just been traveling, absorbing the experience of life, finding my variations of truth and adventure. And then through more the magic carpet, a friend of mine who works in the film business in Los Angeles went on a blind date with a woman. She happened to be a big literary agent, Angela, and she asks him what books he loved. He asked her what movies she loved, and he was generous enough, or honest. He said, "I love this one book, Hitchhiking with Larry David. It's hard to put into words. It's all these things." And of course, Angela, being at the top of her industry, how did I miss that? What? And he said, "Oh, it's you got to meet the guy. Self-published, but man, the book is." And I did sell a lot of them. And so she said, "Give me a copy. I'd be very curious, but don't tell him because I hate 99% of everything I get. And I don't want him to think, oh, an agent has it. And now." So all that's going on unbeknownst to me. And in the meantime, for whatever reason, I feel a desire led to book a trip to Los Angeles, which normally is not my first choice of places. And she read it, and then she said, "I got to meet this guy." Got in touch with me. It turned out I was going to be there in 3 days. And she said, "I'd like to shop this for a book deal if you're open." And I said, "Well, yeah, well, I don't have to pay anything. It's not one of these multi-level market deals." And she said, no. And I said, "Well, I'll just keep doing what I do." She says, "I'm going to go to New York in July, I think." This was April. So I said, "Sure, just let me know." And, I signed a little piece of paper that said if she did, it would work out well. She got compensated. And so the story doesn't get too long. She went to New York and sold it pretty fast right away to this wonderful group of people at Gotham Penguin. And that, see, to me, every step of the journey has been success. I feel like I'm already successful. I'm already happy today on Good Friday. If Oprah calls, I won't be happier. I'll just have a different experience of happiness. This is key. Otherwise, you'll end up 99% of the time unhappy, chasing a mirage of I'll be happy when, and life's like 5 minutes long on a good day. So you want to grab it now. This is it. Little preaching from the chair here. So I'm just thinking, I am so happy that people bought the book, that the book was informed, that people write me letters that are unbelievable, bare their hearts, that I met people on the streets. I was in Maui for a couple months working on another book. Came out of a little coffee shop, and some woman just said, "Oh my God, you wrote that book in Maui." And that's happened to me on the streets of New York. It's not like, oh wow, I'm famous, but what she shared about what the book meant to her is a priceless moment. It's not really about me, it's about them. I'm just lucky enough to do this. So Gotham and these wonderful people said, "We love it. We want to put it out in hardcover." A film producer, Alan Brewer, has optioned the book. There's other people interested in it. We might do a podcast about Hitchhiking. It's just opening doors, but it's the magic of what can happen when, like Joseph Campbell, one of the great people in the last century, says, "Follow your bliss." Whether it's worldview, book view, hitchhiking view, school teaching. Follow your bliss. And, you know, and you're going to be discouraged for all you writers, all you people out there. But do it for love. It's so cliche, but the poets have been writing about it forever. Rumi. Follow your bliss. Follow the love. And then you can be successful in the now. And then it might turn into what we, in a very narrow definition in society, call linear temporal success, which I'm all for. I hope the book sells millions of copies and people have a great experience with it.
Well, I have to tell you, Paul, I had a tremendous experience with it. It's a fabulous book and story, and I wish you all the very best with the re-release of it and the best of luck with it. It's one of those inspirational things to read, and I'm sure our audience is going to enjoy it as well. We've been talking with Paul Samuel Dolman, author of the soon-to-be re-released Hitchhiking with Larry David, here on BookView with Dennis Campbell. And you can reorder that book, or pre-order that book, excuse me, on Amazon and all of the websites out there. I predict it's going to be a fabulous bestseller, and you'll be able to say you saw it here first.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Paul.